All right, what's up, guys? It is Monday, August 19th. This is the Occupy Fantasy Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Draft number 43. We have 17 days left in draft season. Uh, this is my last year's exposures. I was pulling it up because I was kind of looking at something, but this year's exposures, I'm very flat. Apparently, I have no player takes except for Rashi Rice. Ty Chandler has been the top guy in my exposures basically the entire offseason from draft number one. This is the first day that Rashi Rice has overtaken him. The reason is because Rashi Rice is one of the biggest risers in ADP right now, and it's really tough to take him in BBM because people are getting him at pick 60, pick 70. I was going through my earlier ones. I think I got him at like 78 at the latest, but a bunch of people got him even later than that when the suspension stuff was really hot. But now with the puppy three, we can take Rashi Rice. I'm taking him as early as 36, and his ADP right now is 45. So I'm taking him basically in every draft because I want to get as much as possible because I think he's an awesome pick, but only in these time bucks contests because the ones that have been open a long time, even like the flagship ones on the other sites, it's really tough to take him just because when you get to the finals, the Rashi Rice teams you're competing against are they're just going to have it's like they're having an extra fourth round pick versus you, which isn't a huge deal. But it does make it tougher. And so I don't mind mixing him in those contests that have been open a long time, even like BBM. But my focus is drafting him as much as possible in contests where people didn't get crazy ADP value on him. So today, I've been drafting a bunch of these puppy threes. The 20-second clock is nice. Do like 4 or 5 at a time. I have 34 in right now. I'll probably get 50 or 60. This probably fills by the end of the weekend. It's pretty insane. 122,000 lineups in less than a week. But we are going to draft a Best Ball Mania 5 today. I have, 29 entries in Best Ball Mania. I figure I'm going to do about 40. So we'll see. I'll probably do all of them on stream. I don't think I'm going to draft any more BBMs off stream. There's 3 spots left if anyone wants to join. Since by myself today, we really didn't get that much news from preseason week 2. We got some like injury updates, but I don't think we got too much in terms of meaningful depth chart or usage information. I mean, the one that comes to mind, Brendan Rice, could be a starting wide receiver for the Chargers, and he's a player who I'd been taking a little bit. My focus has been DJ Shark in the late rounds, but Brendan Rice, he's free and unknown rookie. It's just a lot of the time this guy is going to be a zero, but what if he's not? Let's see. My draft hacker loads. Let's take a look at the ADP movement for the last week. It's kind of interesting. Olamide Zacchaeus fell out of ADP. I don't think we're drafting him. It looks like Jahan Dotson is going to be the wide receiver too. His usage information in preseason week 2 with the starters, it's, despite what the coach said, it looks like it's Jahan Dotson. I'm still not drafting him, but Marshawn Lloyd falling like a rock, not drafting him anymore, but he's getting to a price where it's probably worth taking shots again. Kamani Vidal fell, but it's actually projected now he's going to make the roster, where before he wasn't. He had a pretty good performance in week 2. So it could be some kind of 3-way competition. Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, Kamani Vidal. Kamani Vidal is still going to start as RB3, but, unknown rookie. So I am fading Jamar Chase as much as possible. Like I have 7%. It's not bad. I'm going to take Amon-Ra this time. Pretty happy to take Amon-Ra or Justin Jefferson, but since I have a little bit more Justin Jefferson, we'll go ahead and take Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra St. Brown at pick 4. Sounds kind of crazy, right? But I just don't believe in Jamar Chase. I mean, like I have 7%. I have enough. If I don't draft him anymore, I'll end up at like 5 or 6% maybe. And like I will take him if he falls to like pick 6 and he's still there. Like I would have taken him here for sure. But I just rather take the other guys around him. I don't think any of these other fallers are really significant. Like Marquise Brown, he's falling past this 71 ADP in a lot of drafts I'm doing. I'm perfectly happy to take him, especially in contests like BBM. Like what I was saying about Rashi Rice, how we probably don't want to take him as much. Players like Marquise Brown, who, half of the teams drafted in this contest got him around ADP 56, ADP 60, whatever. Uh, if he's healthy for the playoff weeks, that's all I care about. So when he falls in drafts, I love taking him. Kind of the same with DeAndre Hopkins, who ADP 93. Like I'm regularly getting him past pick 100, and same thing with Marquise Brown. If we're taking him in BBM way late when a lot of people took him way early, it's like you're not getting that much of an advantage, but these are the players to target right now if you're looking to take advantage of, I don't know, maybe not take advantage, but kind of make up for lack of early ADP value. This other guys on here, Audric Estime. Yeah, this guy got hyped up, but it looks like the starters reps were kind of split between Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. And so I'm still interested in Jaleel McLaughlin. The thing is, if something happens to Javonte, I don't see Jaleel getting the majority of the work. Like Audric is Javonte's backup, and actually could kind of be like Samaje Perine if he makes the team is Jaleel McLaughlin's backup. So I still like Jaleel McLaughlin. Audric probably has a higher ceiling if something happens to Javonte and he ends up starting. But I'm actually coming around on Javonte. If you guys have been watching the streams, you know Chris and I have been pretty down on him. But if he's gonna be, it's just the running backs got so much work in these preseason games, and we kind of already knew that the running backs were gonna get a ton of work. But I mean, I saw someone hyping up Javonte could lead the league in running back catches, and why not? So I'm coming around. I'm still going to be well under the field because I hadn't been drafting him at all, but he's a player I'm mixing in now, especially when we get to this like ADP 100 range of running backs. There's a few guys that I'm just not clicking on anymore, and I'm really focusing on other guys like Jalen Warren. I'm not sure what to do with him. Possible he could be out for week one, but really want to focus on getting a bunch of Najee right now. I'm sure his ADP is going to rise. I see him go ahead of ADP in most of the drafts I've done. So Najee, and then we'll get to it when we get to those ADPs. Garrett Wilson at 8. Puka Marvin Harrison's officially a first rounder. Congrats to him. Let's see. Yep, fading Saquon 1%. Nico Collins has been my auto pick in round 2 lately, so I kind of want to get him up. He doesn't really make it here that often anymore. Cooper Kupp or Devontae Adams? We'll go with Cooper Kupp. Turned off my percentages because I don't really have that many entries in BBM, so I kind of just want to be concentrated on the combos that I want. And because like if you watch the other streams, I have my combo percentages up here with my first round picks, which deters me from taking those guys on the same kind of teams. But this is assuming all of my underdog drafts, which includes the puppies. And so in BBM, and I kind of mentioned this last year, I'm getting to the point where I've kind of already gotten a bunch of combos with my first round guys and mixing up, you know, my guys on a bunch of different teams. And it's not just the players, but the whole roster construction, you know, elite QB, zero RB, some, you know, robust RB, whatever. And so now I really want to focus on just taking my guys. And like last year, my guys were CeeDee Lamb, Amon Ra, DJ Moore, and Amari Cooper in rounds 1 through 4. And that was the nuts for the whole best ball season. And so it's unlikely that something's going to line up that perfectly this season. But if I'm right about my guys, I want as many teams as possible with, you know, if those were my 4 guys this year and the ADPs worked out, those like I want more teams with those 4 guys rather than just a bunch of teams with 2 of them or 3 of them because I don't know, it's like such a small sample size because it's only a couple weeks playoffs, but if I'm right, it's pretty good. Devontae at 26 feels pretty good. We know Gardner Minshew's starting, so it actually might bump down Devontae a little bit for me just because we know that AOC is targeting Devontae hard. We don't know that Gardner Minshew's doing that. He did like target Michael Pittman pretty well, but we'll have to see. And Devontae's obviously better than Pittman. Malik Neighbors at 28. It's a player I want more of. Could go for it. Yeah. Right after I go on a rant about getting my guys in BBM, I take Malik Neighbors, who's not one of my guys, but I am a little bit under where I'd like to be. And, you know, it's easier to draft him in 1 BBM rather than 5 puppies to try to even it out a little bit, you know. Let's see. Guys who are rising in ADP, Sam Darnold. Yep, he should be going up to maybe around 170, 175. So, especially on Justin Jefferson teams, you got to just take him ahead of ADP if you want him. Jordan Mason, he's up almost 2 rounds. It's a lot. Clicking him a little bit, but we've gotten like these little tidbits of news throughout training camp. This guy's RB2. This guy's RB2. Like Jordan Mason, uh, blanking on who the other teams guys are, but like I'm clicking on those guys a little bit that week that we hear the news, and then we get different news the next week. It's like I don't think I was in on Garendo at all, but I have taken a bunch of Elijah Mitchell. I took a few shares of Jordan Mason. It does look like Jordan Mason's the RB2 in San Francisco, which is a pretty valuable spot to have. But I don't know if we get some more clarity over the next couple of weeks on that, then that would be pretty good. I don't think there's much difference between taking Jordan Mason at 187 versus like if he goes as high as 160. If the coach comes out and says that Jordan Mason is going to be the starter if Christian McCaffrey goes down, Braylon Allen, trying to add him a little bit more. ADP is getting kind of high, but he's still one of the cheaper handcuffs in like a really good spot. Ben Sinnott had one catch in preseason, and he comes out doing this. I could be mixing it up with something, but I think in the game over this weekend, most of his snaps were just not running routes. It's kind of just protection. So have to double check on that. But I still don't mind taking shots on him late. I'm drafting a lot more Zach Ertz though. Very comfortable taking him as my like third tight end on punt tight end builds. Greg Dortch. Yep. We have lit the Dortch torch here at Occupy Fantasy. We all love him. Definitely taking him at the end of drafts, especially with how many Rams I'm taking. If I miss out on all the early Cardinals and Michael Wilson, very, very happy to add Dortch. It's just, I think about the spike week potential because he's had some pretty good spike weeks, and we know he's capable of commanding 10 targets in an NFL game, which I don't know if there's anyone else past ADP 180 that we can be confident is capable of it at least. Not to say that it's going to happen for sure this year. Yoshavas, yep, don't mind mixing it up between him and the rookie, Jermaine Burton, Jordan Whittington. Do I have my... All right, these are my exposures for this year. Whittington up to 5%, and I didn't even know who this guy was a week and a half ago. Only $52. I've basically only been taking him in the puppies. If I have the opportunity to tack him on at the end today, don't mind taking him. I have a bunch of round 18 guys. I have percentages of all of them. I want to get those percentages down because it's kind of scary, but very happy to add Jordan Whittington. You see Rashi Rice goes at 37 here. This is pretty common. I've seen this a lot. Pat Mahomes, Rashi Rice double tap. So, I mean, I'd probably be comfortable taking Rashi Rice as early as like 32 because it's like Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs are probably not the wide receiver ones on their team. It's possible. But we know Rashi Rice is going to get the most targets. I guess the concerns are low A dot. But I mean, he was pretty good his rookie year. And even with the low A dot, he's borderline wide receiver one. I think it was like week 7 that he started getting 60+% of the snaps last season, Rashi Rice. And after that, he was pretty good. Yeah, like Rashi Rice would be so nice to just click on right here. Don't mind Kelsey. I'm pretty low on him. T. Higgins, I only have 5%. Don't hate it. I don't really want to do Lamar. Oh, do I have time? Did I get it in time? Terry McLaurin. All right, we'll take Terry McLaurin. T. Higgins, I don't know. It's a guy who I'd kind of been fading a little bit, but he does have the spike week potential, especially if something happens to Jamar Chase. But even Jamar Chase on the field, we know T. Higgins can catch long touchdowns, put up 20+ point games a couple times a year, even as a wide receiver too. Terry McLaurin, though, I talked about it a little bit on stream that the Commanders, and maybe it's something with their OC, but like Jaden Daniels is really going to rely on his first read. And then maybe he just scrambles after that. So the second guy doesn't even get a look. But Terry McLaurin is very clearly the first read in this Washington offense. Something like most of his snaps were ran on the left side, which is good as far as I understand. So Terry McLaurin going around pick 50, pretty happy to click on him. It's like a 9-pick reach over T. Higgins. So this is one thing too. You know, I took him at pick 45. He's ADP 51. I didn't reach 6 spots. I reached 10 spots, 9 spots because T. Higgins goes at pick 43. And we took him over T. Higgins. Now, I don't think it's a big deal, especially if a lot of the other teams in this range are going to have T. Higgins. But I mean, if we get T. Higgins at 52, it's pretty great. Take a quarterback. Take Kyler Murray. All right. T. Higgins. It's pretty cool when you're between two guys and you end up getting them both like 7 picks after. So this worked out pretty well. But again, it's like I could have just taken T. Higgins here and gotten Terry McLaurin here. I didn't really get any value from this, even though I got 10 picks on T. Higgins, just because this combo is easily achieved if the guy just takes T. Higgins first and Terry McLaurin falls 2 spots or 1 spot, whatever. Josh Jacobs in this range feels pretty good. I wasn't taking him too much, but especially if he's past ADP, yeah, I'd be pretty happy to start taking him in this range. Just starting quarterback on what we think is a pretty strong offense. I only have 3%, so that's something that I'm probably going to focus on taking a little bit taking a little bit more of. It's just these wide receivers in this range are too strong. Like Keenan Allen, apparently I'd been ignoring, but I'm taking him in a bunch of puppies right now, so it's one of my hot 5th round picks this week. Calvin Ridley, I guess I'm coming around on. Just he can have a big game. Jaden Reed, I'm kind of souring on, but I have a bunch already, so I'm not worried about it. Just it's kind of awkward when I'm getting, if maybe if him and Christian Watson both fall to this range, and I'm actually clicking Christian Watson over Jaden Reed sometimes, which I wasn't doing before. Xavier Worthy at 57. The Chiefs starting wide receiver snaps were like, it's like Justin Watson ran. Might be making up these numbers. 13 routes. Rashi Rice 13. Xavier Worthy 13. A couple other guys 1. And so I've mentioned this before that I don't think Andy Reid really puts rookies in like that early. Like even Rashi Rice took a few weeks, a couple months to you know, break through that 60% snap share. But once he did, he never looked back. And if Xavier Worthy can come out of the gates with a high snap share because Marquise Brown is out probably for the first couple weeks of the season, I mean, it opens up so much because I think a lot of the value in Xavier Worthy before was just hoping he'd come on by the end of the season. But if he comes on like from week 1, this is probably still a value for him at pick 57. And then, like I said, Hollywood, this is a little bit ahead of his ADP. I'm not taking him this early ever anymore. I already have a bunch, so I'm not worried about missing out on him. But I mean, if you are behind at wide receiver, it's not the worst thing. I see why this guy did it here because he has Patrick Mahomes, but honestly, I'd rather just push it. And if I end up getting Hollywood at 84, that's great. Can take Chris Godwin. Roma Dunze's looked pretty good. There's some, I guess, unknown stuff with what Chicago is going to do into 2 wide receiver sets. Because, I mean, obviously, we assume it's going to be DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, but Roma Dunze might be really, really good. So we'll have to see what happens there. But pretty sure this is pretty far ahead of ADP as well. So let's see. Oh man, David Montgomery, same team correlation with Amon Ra. We were already going to be targeting Goff, or we get Joe Mixon. David Joe Mixon at pick 70. I'm gonna have to go with Joe Mixon. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been targeting David Montgomery pretty hard, but I can't pass up on Joe Mixon. Pick 69, player who I'm a little underweight on that I just feels really good to click when he goes past ADP. I'm actually going to target James Conner here. A little bit of Rams correlation with Cooper Kupp in the last round, and James Conner is my favorite running back to click on. RB5, he's going to finish as a RB5, and he's going at ADP 76. It's incorrect. This guy went with the Kyler Trey McBride stack, not bad. He's pretty happy with the start. 5 straight receivers, probably going to end up with 7. We have Joe Mixon as kind of like our, I think they're calling this zombie RB build, where you get like a dead zone RB as your hero RB. If I can get James Conner as my RB2 here, though, I'm going to feel really good. These are like the teams I feel the best about. When I get one of these top 5 receivers, I mean, basically any of these guys in round 2 and round 3, mix up your 2 favorite. I mean, Rashi Rice in round 4 would be my favorite pick right now for sure, especially at pick 45. Then getting a falling value like T. Higgins at 52, get 2 starting running backs in round 6 and 7. Just a really strong build. And then, I said I'm probably going to target Goff. Jaden Daniels was announced as a starting quarterback. We already knew that, but I'm curious to see if his ADP jumps like from just the coach confirming something that basically we knew. And this guy took James Conner 1 pick right before me. It's pain. Kamara or Najee? Here's the thing with ADP. If these guys were similar ADP, I'd click on Najee right here. But Alvin Kamara's ADP is 72, which makes me want to click Alvin Kamara. Like Jalen Warren is probably going to be good for week one. Alvin Kamara can't run the football though. All right, we'll take Alvin Kamara. I think we got a little bit of ADP value there. 4 picks, not really. Could have went with CJ Stroud. Don't mind taking CJ Stroud when it's this late, but would really just prefer to take him with Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Definitely another player that I'm trying to add on as much as I can, though. In Houston Texas, CJ Stroud, another guy who was going in the 50s a couple months ago, and now he's going pick 80. It's pretty good value if you faded him before, and now you're going to start taking him a little bit more. Let's go back and see if there's any more risers that are interesting. Bo Nix, I think, is fine. People saying, what if you CJ Stroud? I mean, whatever. Rico Dowdle passed Zeke. I still prefer Zeke. As far as I know, he doesn't really get hurt, and you don't have to average that many yards per carry if all you do is run it in from inside the 5. So hopefully Zeke just scores a bunch of touchdowns, catches some easy checkdowns. Rashi Rice up 7 spots. Like percentage wise, significance wise, draft capital wise, this is easily the biggest move on the week. Like this is crazy. Hopefully you guys were in early on Rashi Rice, and if not, like I mentioned all stream, you can draft him on a level playing field with everyone else in the puppy 3. Tank Bigsby apparently looks good again, so added another like last round running back target, I guess. Uh, Me and Chris have been joking about getting Tank Bigsby again, talking about that with like Kamani Vidal, other running backs who could possibly be zeros. But yeah, I might get Tank Bigsby again because I'm going to start drafting him. I need another running back target. Can't just take Alexander Madison and low ceiling Justice Hill at the end of every draft. So, and well, it's on my mind. If you guys haven't signed up for Underdog Fantasy yet, they started a new promotion today, which is probably the actual best promotion I've ever heard of in my entire life. They're going to double your deposit up to $1,000. So the previous promotions were 100, 250. Now it's 1,000. So deposit 1,000, get 1,000 for free. And even if you're not interested, well, I mean, you're watching this video, so you're probably playing best ball. But let's say you didn't want to put $1,000 into best ball contests, you can use that credit to enter pick'ems. And if you are signed up on the Occupy Fantasy site and using the plug, you can take advantage of a lot of lines that are probably just incorrect based on just bad information, I guess. But it's another way to take advantage because I know $1,000 is a lot of money to deposit on these sites just for fantasy purposes, especially if you've never done it before. But that's one way where at least if you're following the Underdog Pick'em guide that we have in the Discord and just making good decisions, then you should be able to get most of your deposit back, and then you can just play with that free 1,000 credit they give you. Jake Ferguson past ADP is kind of tempting. We're at ADP 93. DeAndre Swift is a player I'm trying not to target right now. We'll take Jake Ferguson past ADP. CeeDee Lamb can't catch every ball, right? And now we set this up so I'm definitely taking Dak if he's there, and these guys all have quarterbacks, so he should be there unless like the CeeDee Lamb guy messed up taking Jaden Daniels this early. Like getting Dak at 95 when you have CeeDee Lamb is a gift, dude. What's his 80? Like his ADP is 97, but I'm actually surprised. I thought it was higher. Maybe it's higher in like a weekly winners, but it's a gift, dude. Are you gonna take him at 98 for your third quarterback? So we have a stud quarterback, QB4 this year, maybe. We have a top 5 tight end, probably, maybe. It's a pretty good team build so far. Probably going to end up saving my last 2 receivers for the last couple of rounds. I mentioned like Brendan Rice, and maybe there's a couple other late round guys that I've discovered this week. Get this here. trying to see if there's anyone else on this list worth mentioning. Like Xavier Worthy's into the fifth round, kind of significant, 6 spots. Probably the second most significant move after Rashi, and then Isaiah Pacheco is up 3 spots, and he's a third round pick. Like this is a lot for a guy going 37 to 34. So everyone's up on KC. I think they should be. They've been undervalued all summer, so hopefully you've been loading up. Khalil Herbert, I mentioned the guy who I'm probably comfortable taking in every single draft. Just I know he's good at football. Maybe there's a percentage chance that he overtakes DeAndre Swift, who I mentioned I'm going to try to avoid right now. Yeah, love getting these backdoor stacks with Dak because it's like the only times I'll, I don't know. It's tough to take Dak without CeeDee Lamb, right? At least knowing I have Jake Ferguson here, like I could take Dak, but then I risk Brandon Cooks not being there, and it doesn't feel great to have Dak with only Jalen Tobear, who is also one of the risers in ADP, but I don't know. I try not to end up with naked quarterbacks, and I think I've done a really good job of stacking this offseason. Ended up with a few, but for the most part, most of my teams, every quarterback is stacked. Joshua Palmer could be a value. Still avoiding Lad McConkey. I checked yesterday. I've drafted him once on Underdog in a puppy for $5. Probably fell to like pick 100 or something. But Brian Thomas still not moving up too much. A guy to target like Najee, I feel like could be going a few picks ahead. Keon Coleman. So here's the thing about Keon Coleman. He's playing all the snaps with the starters. And then now there's a report that Curtis Samuel has turf toe, which it's a big deal for football players. This could be a nagging injury. So I had been targeting Khalil Shakir. I see positive and negative things on him on Twitter. I'm on the positive side. I think Khalil Shakir is good. I'm not sure if he has that big ceiling, but I kind of look at him as a little bit like Jacoby Myers, I guess. Like kind of a safe wide receiver who's going to give me some points in this range, right? At least see Jacoby come off the board. Still taking all the Zach Moss over Chase Brown. Wish Zach Moss would fall a little bit more, but it's fine. Jonathan Brooks in these formats. I feel like he's falling so hard on the other sites because the other sites put out tags next to their players. Excuse me. And it's so powerful just having the out tag and the Q tags on these guys because it doesn't matter. It's August 19th. Who cares if this guy's questionable for practice? We're fine. Javante, Taze, Brian Robinson, Devin Singletary, again, the cheapest workhorse by ADP. Don't think you're getting more touches for like who going after Devin Singletary is going to touch the football more times than him. I don't know if there's a single player like other than quarterbacks don't count, but no running back is touching the ball more than Devin Singletary this year. It was something like I don't know, 31 of 34 snaps he played with the starters or whatever it was. Like he only came out for 3 snaps. So very good pick in best ball. Ugh. So we might have a decision. Said I prefer Zeke, and now he's cheaper, so definitely just gonna prefer Zeke. Want to get some running back action, take Jerome Ford. If I needed a receiver, though, I don't mind Tyler Lockett. Oh, I said I was targeting Goff. Might not target Goff anymore. So here's the thing. I have Dak. I'm fine with Dak, and then if I get like Matthew Stafford here, is that worth it? Because who would I take here? I would take Zeke at pick 124. So I could take Zeke at pick 124. Goff isn't really going to fall to 141 too often, like very, very small percentage of the time. Or take Goff now, and then who's my fourth running back around pick 140? It's going to be a backup, which is fine. It's not a big deal. If I like double tap like Tyler Algier and Jalen Wright, they have pretty good playoff correlations with my team. 5 game stacks with Tyler Algier. That's what this number is here. Keeping the Bills theme, thoughts on Ray Davis? I don't know, dude. So I have like 1% of him or something, and I have clicked him a couple times in the past few days just to get some. So I have 3%. I'm concerned that he's not the RB2. And so, kind of like the other guys, I want to wait for some kind of confirmation because yeah, Ty Johnson is a guy I was drafting in the big board. I haven't drafted him since, but just it's possible he comes in and is the guy. Man. Yeah, we're gonna go with Zeke here. There's three quarterbacks bunched up here, so maybe it's a little more likely Goff falls. Sam Laporta, owner, does not have a quarterback, so Goff is not falling back to us. That's okay. Ray Davis, though, let me see if I can find if anyone says anything about Ray Davis, because that's a concern. If we know he's the RB2 in Buffalo, I love it because, I mean, one of the guys that I targeted really heavily last year was Damian Harris, who I thought was going to be Buffalo's backup running back. Uh, he had an unfortunate injury and he ended up being a zero, but I mean, we're taking like ADP 110, something like that. Uh, Now, I didn't think James Cook was that guy last year. And so I thought Damian Harris had a chance to at least be like the AJ Dillon when AJ Dillon was good anyway. But with Ray Davis, I don't know. There's a couple decent highlights of him from the games. And at that ADP, it's probably worth taking shots. The guys around him, like Jaleel McLaughlin, we know the median outcome is probably higher than Ray Davis, but Ray Davis's absolute ceiling is probably higher. Targeting Jalen Wright as much as possible. Still love Tyler Algier at this price. Braylon Allen, I'm taking more. So, I mean, I don't know. I have more of every single running back than I do of Ray Davis. You got to get to guys like Jordan Mason, Tyrone Tracy, Damian Pierce to get to guys that I have less than Ray Davis. So, probably don't want more than 3%. Uh, well, scroll down. It's so funny. Like Ray Davis, like there's guys positive, negative tweets on all these guys, but scroll down one tweet. Ray Davis among rookie running backs in preseason week 2, PFF grade 1, 58 rushing yards, which was second, 40 yards after contact, third. It's pretty good. 4 missed tackles, forced, tied for first. So Ray Davis had a good preseason game. I still don't love James Cook. I think I'm not taking. Let me see. I'm not drafting that much Buffalo in general, though. James Cook, like, I'm kind of surprised I even have 5%. Dalton Kincaid, 3. Keon Coleman, 1. Curtis Samuel, 5. Shakir, 10. Yeah, I don't know. Jets, if you're on if you're on Ray Davis, you could probably talk me into him pretty easily right now. Just give me another late round running back target. I love it. I hate drafting the same guys over and over again. Because a lot of the problem that I had with James Cook last year was he had never had a bell cow workload. Even in high school, he it might be in high school too. In high school and college, he had never had 20 carries in a game in his entire life. He was RB1, like the clear RB1 on Buffalo. So that changed. Things can change. We have to adjust to new information. But yeah, you didn't even say anything, and you kind of talked me into Ray Davis. Talked myself into it. All right, let's see. Is there any fear of this guy taking one of these guys taking Matt Stafford? I don't mind getting Justin Herbert too if I miss out on Stafford. Backstack him with Brendan Rice. That'd be kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Wright. This is looking like a 6 running back build. We got 2 for sure starters. Jerome Ford, who's probably the starter for 6 weeks, and then in a committee for the rest of the season when Nick Chubb is good to go. Hopefully his workload doesn't decline throughout the season as Nick Chubb's increases. Hopefully Jerome Ford maintains like 40% of snaps at least. Just have some potential for a couple touchdown game in the playoff. Zeke, I mean, hopefully he's one of the best running back values, one of my highest exposed guys. And then Jalen Wright, he plays for Miami in the running back position. It's enough for me. Fun note on Devin Achane, played I think he played some outside snaps yesterday. If he's gonna get outside snaps, running routes, yeah, we can take Devin Achane in the second round. He was a cover on the last stream. I believe Chris and I were the ones talking about him, and I don't know. He has a spike week potential. If you get to week 17, you're thrilled to have him on your roster. You're definitely taking a more difficult path to get to week 17, I think. If you draft Devin Achane, I just Is he going to have another 50-point fantasy game to kind of prop up his year-long scoring total? Maybe. I just feel he's a lower advance rate player, but like I said, if you get him to the finals, you're absolutely thrilled to have him in week 17 because he's probably going to be low owned. Matt Stafford by week 6, Dak by week 7. Cool. So we got 2 starting quarterbacks, both with their wide receiver ones. Oh, never mind. I don't have CeeDee Lamb. I got 1 starting quarterback with his wide receiver one starting quarterback with top 5 tight end in the NFL, number 2 target, which isn't bad. We have no correlation though. See if we can find some correlation. Jerome Ford and Jalen Wright is my only week 17 correlation. It's not going to cut it. So Matt Stafford versus Greg Dortch. It's easy enough. Dak Prescott versus. There's no one on Philadelphia I'm drafting, so we're lost there. Tampa Bay. K. Dotton's not a bad second tight end option. Obviously, only going 2 tight ends on this team. New York Jets. Not really a fan of Mike Williams right now. Haven't been clicking on Corley. Like Braylon Allen. I don't know if this is the team I want Braylon Allen for. I kind of have an idea of who I want for my 6th running back. And then Carolina with Dak. Adam Thielen's gone. Surprised Adam Thielen's gone. Like Jalen McMillan, a rookie. Don't mind clicking on. I have 7%. Probably don't want to be at 8, which is the average. Let's see what these guys are doing in the draft. Ray Davis just went at pick 153. I don't mind this build. Running back, receiver, running back. 4 straight wide receivers. Elite-ish quarterback. A couple more running backs. Yeah, if he stops at 5, I kind of like this build. Double tapping Pat Freiermuth and Dalton Schultz too. Be done at tight end there. Let's see. Luke Musgrave, unexciting guy. I'm surprised I have 4%. I'd probably take him when there's playoff correlation. Shad Bateman, the rare 0. Not sure I'm ever going to click on him. Taking more Hunter Henry than I thought, but the thing with Hunter Henry is every year, like clockwork, he has a game where he catches 2 touchdowns. He did in week 14 last year, I believe. Just catch 2 touchdowns. And Drake May doesn't look bad. I think the Drake May hype on Twitter is a little bit much, though. I'm not like jumping to draft Drake May ahead of ADP now. I have 6%, and probably most of that was from the last week. So I did take him a little bit, but I'm drafting a bunch of New England players anyway, so it makes sense to take some. And then Bo Nix. I mean, if I'm desperate for a second quarterback and everyone else is gone, I'll take him a couple times. The problem is I don't know what receivers to take with him, even if I have. I'm going to take Tyler Conklin, actually, and just pray. Well, don't want to risk it. Don't want to risk Khalil Herbert not being there. Not really. We're going to take Khalil Herbert first. I don't mind missing out on Conklin, but Khalil Herbert is a guy I'm very comfortable closing off this wide receiver or this running back room with. If I missed on him, I could have gone with Bucky Irving, which is great. Get that Dallas correlation. I just hope Greg Dortch makes it back to me. Now I kind of hope this guy just takes Tyler Conklin so I can just take Greg Dortch and not feel guilty about it. If I miss out on Conklin, I haven't taken shots on Kobe Parkinson, but I don't hate the idea. Juwan Johnson was cleared or something. I think Brian sent a message in our staff chat today about him. Let's see. Oh, and Drake May might not even be starting. By the way, there's a coach talking about some weird stuff. We're going to stick to the plan. It might not be a popular plan, but we're doing what we think is right. I don't know. The point is, if he's starting in the playoff weeks, it's all that matters. And hopefully you're not relying on him to contribute during the regular season anyway. Should be like your 3rd quarterback or maybe your 2nd quarterback if you have like Josh Allen. Sounds like there's hope that Juwan Johnson will be ready to go very soon. He's progressing on schedule. It's just the cheapest tight end in the draft, and I only have 8% here. I have a bunch more on the other sites. I guess I wasn't drafting much here. Greg Dortch, pick 180. My next pick is 189. What's more important, making the finals or getting to the finals? All right, Greg Dortch has more of an opportunity to contribute points to this team, I think. Tyler Conklin, I see him as a guy who's going to give me like 7+ most weeks. Aaron Rodgers loves him. Probably the second target earner in this offense. I guess third after Brees Hall, too. But I look at him as like a super, super solid floor guy with the potential to possibly catch 2 touchdowns. But like I mentioned earlier, Greg Dortch can command 10 targets in a football game. It's happened before. Maybe it's a little bit harder now because it's kind of a crowded room somehow. But I still think he adds more points to this team overall. So, and then I don't mind taking K. Dotton as like my second tight end. Kind of like I said, Tyler Conklin's a really good floor play. K. Dotton is the ultimate floor play because he plays every single snap in the entire season. Led the league in snap share last season, 97%, I think. I want to say Alec Pierce played the most snaps overall, but the Colts just had more plays, I guess. Because I don't mind taking like Juwan Johnson late. No playoff correlation, but it's okay. Really want playoff correlation with my quarterbacks because, I mean, not that I have other correlation otherwise. Like I started off the stream saying I wanted to focus on building a good team, and now I don't think this is a bad team, but kind of wish I got a little bit more correlation from some early guys. 3 picks left to finish it out. See, Marvin Mims was a guy that I was adding kind of aggressively a couple weeks ago, but what did he do? He played like one snap with the starters, and then he got some second half action with like the third stringers, which doesn't bode well for his chances of playing. It does look like the Broncos starting set is going to be Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and Josh Reynolds. And so I don't know what to do with Troy Franklin. I already have enough shares of Marvin Mims. Like it's not that much, but it's enough for me. What do I have here? Oh, 2%. I have like 10% weekly winners though, because I saw him as a guy that could run fast in a straight line and catch a long touchdown, but I'm not going to take him anymore. Josh Reynolds, I look at as another guy, kind of like Khalif Raymond. I know they just played together, but I don't know that the ceiling's there, but maybe they'll give you 12 or 13 points if the rest of your receivers have a down week. Tim Patrick, I could be talked into, though. We were pretty interested in this guy before, and then what did he do? He blew his knee out or something in preseason, 2 years in a row or something. But he looked okay in the preseason game. I'm curious to hear Brian and Chris's and Moose and Derek's opinions on a bunch of these guys. Like I said earlier, we don't have that much new information from this preseason week 2, but we have some. We have some stuff that we can at least make good inferences on. Maybe get ahead of the field by a week. All right, we'll take K. Dot in here. That's fine. So got a nice little 2 tight end set. I'm done at running back, and I'm done at quarterback. So what do I got? 2 more wide receivers to go. Cool. Appreciate you guys hanging out here today. Jets, shout out to you, always being in the chat, one of our favorite members. Quentin Johnson, it's so funny because Quentin Johnson, let's say he's on the board in the last round. I'd rather take Brendan Rice over Quentin Johnson, even if they're the same ADP. Is that wrong? Is that Justin Herzig? I didn't even notice Justin's in here, dude. Is this dude streaming? Herzig? I wonder if he popped in here. Probably not. Herzig, where are you streaming, dude? Whose stream are you on? All right, we're going to take a look at Herzig's team. Justin Herzig, winner of BBM2, I believe. Or BBM1, maybe? BBM1 was Herzig. What is this, BBM5? Yeah, Herzig won BBM5, and I want to say he's made the BBM finals in every year. He's only won, I think. Maybe missed one, but yeah, he's seems to be one of the more knowledgeable guys in the space. Definitely someone to listen to and learn from for sure. And I've listened to him countless hours. So shout out to you, Herzig. If somehow you make your way in here, Appreciate what you have contributed to the best ball community. I don't want any of these guys. All right, we'll take Corley. It's like such a bad pick. I only took him for the Rams correlation, so hopefully this gets me to the finals. Corley going to score 0 points in the regular season and put up 17 in week 16, which I'm going to need to advance. This isn't bad. Malik Neighbors, imagine his target share is like 33% this year, like it was in the preseason game. I don't know how many half PPR points that is, but it's a lot. All right, let's take a look at Herzig's team. He went with AJ Brown, Drake London, Tank Dell, super standard. Jalen Hurts, yep, super standard, good start. Josh Jacobs at 58, picks up some ADP value. Christian Kirk at 63. This dude is dropping, dude. But Brian Thomas really isn't coming up. So, like scooping up this Christian Kirk value, still taking Brian Thomas. Dude scooped up Najee and Raheem Mostert, two of my favorite running backs. This is literally, I would have drafted this exact team, dude. I would have done nothing different. So, shout out to you, Herzig. Joshua Palmer. This is probably the first pick I would have made different than you. First 8 rounds, I would have done literally exactly this team. Yeah. Brian Thomas or Brian Robinson, great pick. Jalen Polk. Yeah. I'm in on Robinson. Haven't been taking Polk. Wish I got him at like pick in the 150s, but again, if you're taking him at 130, it doesn't matter. I did this with Nico Collins last year where he moved up like 30 spots in ADP. I didn't want to click him anymore. Well, guess what? I'm clicking on him at pick 12 now. So just take him if that's your guy. Charbonnet, love it. TJ Hawkinson, don't mind it after ADP. Wandale, a guy I'm clicking on. Aaron Rodgers to pair with. What did he do? He went with the Aaron Rodgers Conklin. Dang, okay. That would have been funny if I took Conklin from him here. Then what would he have done? Wonder if he would have double tacked Corley there too. He did 3 tight end build: Hawkinson, Conklin, Parkinson. I don't mind it. Like Conklin, like I said, if he gives you like 7 points for the first few weeks in the tight end spot, that's fine. TJ Hawkinson comes back by week 6. Maybe he's 80% by the last couple of weeks of the regular season. And then Kobe Parkinson, I mean, he's like that tight end moonshot. Maybe he's good enough to hold off Higbee when he comes back. Nice build, Justin. I guess we'll finish 1 and 2 in this pod. I don't know if I love my team. I think it's a fine team. I don't know if this is finishing top 2 though, because, well, like I said, this is a team I would draft if I was in Herzig's shoes. Maybe I take Collins over Drake London a bunch, but this is a really good team. This is like the ideal build, probably. Punt on tight end, elite quarterback, 3 elite receivers, 3 starting running backs, a guy who's like half starting, kind of strong handcuff. Ooh, finished out with Johnny Wilson. Get that wide receiver 3 action on Philadelphia. Not bad. Jordan Whittington is still here. Where did he go in this draft? Jordan Whittington, 191. Seems fine. So it's like, man, you're taking Whittington in the 16th round? Dude, who cares? Doesn't matter. Like after like round 14, round 15, just take your guy. Because I kind of had that last year with Puka and Kyron. And if you took Puka and Kyron like in 15th round last year, 20 picks ahead of ADP, maybe you're looked at like, whoa, this guy is like reaching for an 18th round pick. But dude, we're never going to be that right again about an 18th round pick as we were on Kyron and Puka. But we can be half as right, and it's still pretty strong. Do I really want to take Brandon Rice here over DJ Shark? There's just, I like a lot of these guys in the last round and 20 round drafts, but in 18 round drafts, it's different. I was taking Devontae Walker before. Bo Melton, I got 8 games of a correlation. Love Bo Melton as a last round pick, but someone probably has to get hurt for him to have relevance. Kendrick Bourne, I mean, if he works out, he's their best player for sure. Justin Watson starting the season. Mac Hollins could possibly be a starter in Buffalo. AJ Osborne seems safe, but I don't know if the ceiling's there. And then my last guy down here, Noah Brown. Someone else draft him? Yeah, Noah Brown. It's just, I don't know, 3 outs to get on the field if anything happens to the top 3 receivers. I want to say he only played like 1 or 2 snaps with the starters, though, so that's not great. It's a complete moonshot. Just wanted to take a closer look at Justin Herzig's team. Hertz, Rogers. Oh, fresh here. Wish I noticed Justin was in here earlier. Maybe I would have tagged him. Get a little collab going, but all right, let's check this out. Justin Herzig, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Jacobs, Najee, Raheem, Brian Robinson, Charbonnet. So this is a good running back build. You got an early-ish running back, Josh Jacobs, probably be going around earlier, and you got him at value. Najee, Raheem. I'm very, very comfortable when I have three quarterback or running backs of this quality, and then especially when you add a guy like Brian Robinson, like a Brian Robinson or Devin Singletary as my fourth running back. It feels really good, especially when I have the elite receivers like Christian Kirk around past ADP, taking shots on a rookie, taking shots on a completely unknown guy, not drafted in every draft, punt tight end kind of. He's got some kind of playoff correlation did he get? Green Bay, Minnesota, Brian Robinson, Drake London, Joshua Palmer and Poke, TJ Hawkinson and Josh Jacobs. So he didn't really smash the correlation either. I think I pretty much bricked out though. Josh, or is this me? No, it's not even my team. Well, anyways, the stream's been long enough. Appreciate everybody watching the solo stream. If you made it to the end, remember if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, they're matching your deposit up to $1,000. Best promo I've ever heard of in my entire life. If you want some information on how to efficiently use that, join the Discord. Information in the description below, and just pop a question. We'll help you guys out. So.